Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. The weirdest thing just happened. It was really windy and my card started to fly everywhere, and this card like landed in front of this girl as she was walking into Starbucks, and it was like a Four of Swords, and I was just like, maybe this is a message for you. And she's like, and I explained to her what it was, and she was like, wow, thank you so much. And it's like, it's kind of cool. Like, I mean, if you're not into tarot, then it wouldn't be that cool, but if I was like, I'm like always looking for signs and getting them and stuff. If I was like walking in somewhere and a card flew in front of me, I'd be like, that is so like, that's such a sign, you know? Anyways, with that being said, I'm going to do a Sag reading and see what's going on with you guys for June. I'm starting off with a Mystic Moon Oracle deck. My last reading today was a little manic because I hadn't eaten. I just had coffee and now I just ate and I'm like a little bit. The answer is no, but I'm not going to take that because I just started shuffling. But so let's see what current Sag energy is for June. I have regret and grief. So some of you, either you or you know that my readings, or if you don't know, I try to focus on like twin flame dynamics. It could be really anything, but in terms of like this deck especially, I feel like some of you might be wondering I'm going to pull one more card. Pride and ego. Okay. So some of you might be dealing with a counterpart who has not voiced anything to you and their pride is keeping them back, but they have a lot of regret and grief around the way things panned out with you guys. This is like a very clear, they're very sad, they're very prideful though, and they're very remorseful about how things went down. So recognition. So they recognize the connection that you guys had, but I think they also recognize their part in it and like where they messed up, and they're really like, I feel like beating themselves up about it, but you may not see that because their pride and ego is preventing them from coming forward. But just know that I think they're also working on releasing this, you know? I think you're also working on releasing it, and I think that the only way you guys could really come back together is that for this rocky past to be released. I think a lot happened that would be too heavy to continue with any sort of dynamic. So I feel like it might take some time, because I feel like if you guys do come back together, it's going to have to be as a totally new blank slate, you know? There's just too much wreckage of the past. I feel like they did a lot of things, and you maybe even did a lot of things that just wouldn't be healthy for this dynamic. Contemplation. So they're in a very contemplative state, and I keep getting this crossroads. This was on my other, they're like at a crossroads, I think, and so are you, about like where to go from here, you know? They're really looking out into the distance of their life and everything, and they're really trying to make sense of it all, you know? There's a lot of contemplation going on right now. So I'm going to pull some Mystic Mondays and see what energy I could get with that. I'm sorry about the noise out here. It's the lesser of two evils. Inside is just a different... Wow. So some of these are the cards that fell out when they blew away, but I did get the Four of Swords, the Five of Wands, and the Queen of Wands. So this is like kind of like your guys' energy. I think like taking space right now, there's been a lot of conflict, there's been a lot of battles, there's been a lot of confusion, and I feel like you need to get to this point where you're just finding the answers within yourself, you're taking space, you're grounding yourself, and you're becoming, you know, that version of yourself that you recognize, the recognition, which is Queen of Wands. You're getting back your Sag self. So I feel like space is really good right now, whatever situation that you're in. Let's see what else I could get here. The Four of Swords blew out in front of this girl. So there's a really strong need for meditation, going inside. The Tower is reversed. I'm not doing reversals right now. So the Tower's here. There was a big, I don't know, like a breakup or some sort of moment that shook your life up, that caused you to hit rock bottom. And I think that's where you're at with the Four of Swords. Like, you're like kind of having to rebuild your life from the ground up. A Five of Wands is here again, so there is like a battle happening, maybe internal battle. Just a lot of different energies, different voices, different, this card flew out too, so I'm going to take it, the Nine of Pentacles. So, there's a need for independence, you know? If you were in codependent situations, I think it's really important for you to try to find your confidence by yourself right now. Be the Fool, be excited, dream of like new possibilities. You know, I think you've been stuck in a rut for a really long time. I think it's important to have that outlook that there's still, you know, things to experience that are more innocent, and that you can be the Fool, you know. And Page of Cups and Knight of Cups is here. So some of you might be dealing with a Pisces, or could be Cancer or Scorpio, but I get a really strong Pisces energy here. And I get a lot of like an innocent energy here too. So I think the cure to all this Five of Wands energy is finding that new sense of like excitement about things, you know. Also, there might be some sort of a romantic thing with I don't know, like a Pisces energy. Let's see what else I could get here. The Page of Cups to me is like so clearly Pisces, because he has like a fish all over him. So a lot of water here too. Three of Swords. There's definitely a heartache going on, a need for grieving and healing, like the grief card I pulled. So there's a lot of like pain here. I'm going to pull cards for what your twin flame higher self would want to say to you that they're currently thinking, but they haven't been able to say, okay? So this is the Volume 2 Mystic Moon Twin Flame Messages. I need to go my own way for a while. Yep, this is a message here. So that's what I'm saying. It's finding your independence, that Nine of Pentacles energy, where there's like just space, like no fighting, no constant reminders of like heartache and disappointment. I think that this contemplative space is what they need, or what you need. I will make things right between us one day. So, you know, like I said in the beginning of the reading, there's a lot of regret, and they're saying to you, like, they know this, and they just still need some time, you know. They haven't quite figured out themselves, and they also have a lot of, like, so sorry about the noise, a lot of pride and ego here. So I'm going to pull from the Goddess Guidance Oracle deck and see what else they have to say here. Go outside. You have been indoors too long. Go outside and get some fresh air, which is interesting because I never do my readings outside, but I'm doing it today. So nature is always a good thing to reset. A High Priestess. So this is intuitive energies. You have divine knowledge that can help others through your spiritual teaching. So, you know, some of you guys really have to tap into those gifts that you have, this spiritual inclination, and I think maybe you'll get your inspiration from that, from going outside. So yeah, let me see if I can, I'll pull like one card from here. The only thing with this is I have to read it from the book, because like I've said, I don't have these memorized. So this is the Pythia Botanical Oracle deck. Let's see what messages I can get here. I'll just pull one if there are too many here. Okay. Transfer grief. Guys, we have 3 grief cards. So this is about using grief to propel you in a direction, because the thing that happens with grief is like your heart gets broken wide open. That's also the Tower that you got. And it's a time to actually be like the most enlightened you've ever been, because you're most vulnerable and your ego is kind of put to the side, and it's your chance to be, you know, extremely raw and show up to yourself in a way that's like really authentic. So elderflower is the flower, and it is transfer grief, a reminder to diffuse your sorrow with those who share and infuse your rose where beauty springs. In the darkest turmoil, plant such soul and seeds, the sun will always come. Tears may be enough, in time blooms and you will resume. So everything is temporary, you know. Grief feels sometimes like it goes on forever and ever, and it may go on longer than you anticipate, but it will eventually turn into something else. So that's the message I have for you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.